And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thomson. 100%. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
Well, hello and welcome to everyone. It is the Weighing In Podcast. My man, Josh Thomson, is still somewhere far, far away in a land that no one knows of. He's diving into lakes and not taking showers. It's disgusting, but whatever.
No, that's just being a real man, dude. That's what real men do. They don't shower for a couple days. They let the oils in their hair keep their body feeling good. You know, whatever it is.
Yeah, they let the parasites sink in. That's good. Yeah,
it's all good. Hey, man. Yeah. I think old cowboys did it, man. Real men back then. They don't make them like me anymore. Okay, it obviously skipped over you.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt they don't make them like you anymore. Thank God.
They don't make them like me anymore. Just all man, baby. All
is that what
man.
it is?
Is
that what it is?
Some of my drip is actually dripping down onto George a little bit still. I mean, it totally passed you up. It passed you up completely.
Dude, George, look at you see George right now. He's trying to cover up away from your drip.
No, my drip. Well, hey, but you know what? We don't have much to talk about, but you know what? This episode is going to be brought to you by Bet US. This show is probably only going to be about 15, 20 minutes long because there's only one real
show
fight card this weekend. Yeah, one show this weekend to talk about. So you know what, John? I mean, look, we had done the Q&A. I'm having problems with the upload on the Q&A. I'm going to see if there's some way we can salvage that. I don't know why or what.
We might be out of luck.
I knew that John should have done the show by himself because then it would have been out. And I was like, yeah, you know what? But I'm trying to be a trooper. I'm trying to fight through all this stuff.
Yeah, team player. Yeah,
like a real man.
A real team player.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, John, you've known me long enough. I'm a team player.
You are a team player.
Absolutely.
You fucked over the team.
Yes, I did. I did this time. I'm just like, man, how is this thing now? Literally, like I was in and out of Wi-Fi all day today, but it only uploaded maybe 8% or 10% from the moment I woke up this morning to now.
That's horrible.
And in the last 2 hours, it's been stuck on 98%. Have no idea why it doesn't upload. I'm going to have George call Riverside, which is where we do our podcast through. It's a hosting platform for podcasts. That is what their main job is. I have no idea why it's struggling right now for this upload. It's killing me. But I mean, hopefully George can just, whatever is uploaded, he can upload that. Maybe you just have to just write off the last question and just call it a wrap. Maybe we just film an ending to this thing right now. And George can plug it.
All right, that's it for question and answers. Hope you enjoyed, and we're out.
All we got.
See ya.
All right, but yeah, I think I'm hoping by the middle of next week we'll be back at home. So we got 2 more shows like this, and John's just fucking dreading it right now, going, "Geez, man, you're in a room with no backing, you know." And for me, I'm sweating my balls off right now. It's so hot here. It's not like Texas hot, but it's just like, you know,
dude,
my family went out of town because we were out of town, separate with my other family. And I come back, and so the air conditioning's not on, so it's freaking hot as balls in this house now. So we're making some adjustments. I can feel the drip down my leg right now.
Well, there's more than a drip down your leg, man.
Ass crack. I'm wearing gray sweats, so it's going to be a little wet down there when I. All right, but you know what? Hey,
stay salty, my friend. Stay
salty, my friend. There you go. See, I got to stay hydrated. I've got my packets in the car, which the wifey just took, so I'm going to have to get over there. All right, guys. Well, hey, we're going to go ahead and talk about the one main card this weekend, which can be a good card. I'm actually kind of excited for it. Myself, and I'm working it.
You are working. Did you see the little presser today with this, I don't want to say influencer named Neon? Okay, where is it, Josh? You got to tell me because I just don't get it. I'm too old. Where is it that a guy that has never been in a fight in his life wants to be a smart ass with a guy who is a real fighter? He has to sit up there. He has to listen to your bullshit. And you want to sit there and say, so, you know, are you going to retire when you get knocked out, you know, this Saturday night? It's like, do you think just maybe that's a fucking douchebag thing to say to a guy that's been through wars throughout his career and you've never done a fucking thing?
It does get extremely annoying. I wonder though. This is what I'm look at. We've already seen it with with Nate from before, right? In the New Orleans situation where the guy stepped up to him, rushed him. Nate grabs him, chokes him. That guy is trying to sue now, and apparently,
of course. I was wronged.
Yeah, but Logan Paul is funding his case against Nate Paul, or against Nate Diaz. He's funding the case. Apparently, he's funding his lawyers for that against Nate. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. These influencers, if you're going to test the limits, you're going to get what you get. And
at least I'll give Logan Paul his due. He has fought. He steps up and he'll do stuff. But it's always these guys that they'll never fucking do anything. And they'll sit there and say something like, you're going to get knocked out. You're going to retire when you do. It's like, homeboy, you're lucky he doesn't jump over that table and just drop kick you into the fucking third row and let your teeth fucking become chiclets.
I mean, have we gotten to a point in our society where we have I know we've already gotten to that point, but we allow people to just say shit.
Yeah, we do no because that's the whole point. You know, the internet has made everyone so brave. It's like, whatever. I don't know. It's just, I look at it and I watched Nate and I thought Nate, you know, a lot of people aren't going to like the way he handled it. I like the way he handled it.
I loved it.
Yeah, I loved it. He's just fucking, I got girls back here who'll fuck you up.
And he's absolutely right.
Oh yeah,
he's absolutely right.
He is.
I believe right. This Neon guy is the one that Dana kept from getting into the show, right? He's the one that was like in the car going, "I'm headed to the UFC. Donald Trump's going to be there, and I'm going to tell Donald Trump this, and this." And then Dana found out about it before he even got to the arena, and basically he walked up to the door and he goes, "No, you can't come in."
I love it. Okay,
and that's great.
I just got to go, Dana. Way to go, dude.
Yeah, right. I mean, you know, and then they asked him I believe they asked Dana about it in the presser afterwards, and like, hey, like he's like, look, you go online, you say some stupid ass shit. What do you think I'm going to do? You think I'm going to let you come in and see if you really are going to test?
I'm going to let you try to disrupt my show.
Yeah, no thanks.
Come on.
No thanks. No thanks. I mean, look, there's been a big cancer that goes through like NFL football right now. You know, people are a lot of people have talked about they don't like taking their kids to football games anymore because it's a drunk fest. It's fighting all the time. People getting knocked out. People throwing things. They're like, this is not a family affair like it used to be a while back. Don't get me wrong. There was clubs, there was teams that were considered to be the rough and the rowdies. You know, the Raiders, the Philadelphia Eagles, whatever.
I used to work when the Raiders were in LA. I'd work. You know, they played at the Coliseum. I'd work the games against the Pittsburgh Steelers and stuff. Look out. It was bad.
Yeah.
But, it's okay. You know, I look at that at least as, hey, you guys want to fight? I don't get it. I don't have a problem with people fighting. But it's like this guy that stepped up in New Orleans, acting tough, and Nate just guillotines him and chokes him. And it's like, now you want to sue.
Yeah.
You cunt. Sorry.
Yeah. I feel like, especially if you're the one walking towards him, making that gesture as if you want to fight.
Dude, you're the one that's initiating.
Yeah. And from what I understand, it's Logan Paul who is basically paying for his lawyers to.
Logan's making a mistake on that one.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, hey, you know what? Let's actually talk. You said you were you worked in LA, and there's fights this weekend in Anaheim, which is close enough to LA. Pretty much the same thing. And big stuff, man. Big stuff.
San Jose, and San Francisco, same thing.
Yeah, same. It's all one big melting pot of.
Well, it is a melting pot.
Yeah, it is.
Or, as we would say, a cultural mosaic.
That's one way of saying it. Yeah. I mean, I myself would never put it that way, but yes, it is definitely one way to say it. I would say it's a melting pot of fuckery is what it is. That's the best way of putting it.
You might have it right.
John, I don't have a screen in front of me outside of your two beautiful faces, Keto George and Big John. So why don't you tell us? Let's go ahead and go with the main. We're just going to talk the main card,
okay.
And there's some good fights on the main card. I think some fun, interesting fights on the main card.
Well, the main card is the only thing that anyone's going to watch anyways. Let's just be honest.
This is very true.
Just being honest. Yeah, the main event it's the key. That's George Masvidal. Game Bred Boxing is the promoter, and George Masvidal, being Mr. Game Bred himself, is taking on a guy he already fought in MMA, and it was for the BMF, the very first title that they had with the BMF. Nate Diaz. And Nate, look, people say what they want. Nate's the one that basically made that whole thing happen. He's the one that came up with it, saying that, you know what, Masvidal was someone he respected and would want to have that fight because he's a bad motherfucker. Well, they're going to do it again in boxing. And, the one in MMA ended based on cuts, by Masvidal kind of cutting up Nate's face a little bit. Probably not the way they wanted it to end, but I don't think this is going to end in that fashion. I think it's going to be a pretty good boxing match. If you're going to look at technicalities here and say who's the more technical boxer, a lot of people are going to say Masvidal, and I think they're right. I think he is the more technical guy, but he's also a street guy, and he's got a little bit of street in him in the way that he does throw down and stuff. But Nate Diaz is a difficult person to deal with because he's awkward. He throws from awkward angles. He comes at you with a pressure that he just doesn't stop. Everyone talks about, all this crap, and you're gonna knock him out and stuff. People don't knock him out. They knock him out with a head kick.
Yeah.
Okay. It takes a big old shin to the dome to hurt that dude, because he is a tough son of a bitch. And Masvidal's a tough son of a bitch too. So it's an interesting boxing match. It's not, let's be honest, it's not Lomachenko against Devin Haney or a fight like that. But it's interesting, and it's one that's fun, and I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah, let's remember, though, that first fight, it was stopped by a cut, but it was stopped by a cut from a kick. And so those are things that are potentially, I think, are obviously not going to happen in this fight. Plus, the gloves give you a little more security, a little bit more defense, all of those things. I'm really interested, though, to see how this fight starts off. If Nate starts at a slow pace, I'm going to lean a lot towards Masvidal.
Yeah, sure.
If he stands on the outside and decides not to put pressure right away, and he decides that he'd come to me, whatever it is, if Nate doesn't put pressure right away to start to slow Masvidal down, then I think that Masvidal's going to basically be able to pick and choose what he does in the fight. He's going to snap his jab. He's going to land the big shots. He's going to get in, get out. He's going to dictate the pace of the fight, which means that he's going to dictate how tired he gets.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that I think Nate has. Obviously, a lot of us think that is that he has learned how to weaponize his cardio. And if he can get started early by the middle of the fight, whether it's round 4, round 5, round 6, somewhere in there, I think he's got a good chance of making Masvidal tired if he puts the right type of pressure and just touches him, and uses that reach advantage to his advantage by just keeping the jab out there, the slapping palm, whatever it is, just pawing out there, making him reach, making him lunge in with the shots, and start using up that energy. Masvidal has always been a very explosive fighter. He kind of reminds me a little bit. Remember how Hermes Franco was? He lulls you to sleep with this little back and forth movement, and then all of a sudden, boom, 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 3 or 4 big shots. If you stay standing, great, but he's going to keep landing. Yeah. And he just does that periodically throughout fights. Whereas Nate is the constant pressure. He doesn't let you hit him, but he will take a shot to give a shot. He'll take 2 shots sometimes to give a shot. He's got a great chin. He knows how to add the pressure, but it's when he gets started too late is when we start to see a problem on his decision losses. He loses by decision based on the fact that he doesn't get started early enough. That's and true. We've seen this with countless fighters. Paulo Costa is he doesn't really get started. He's got plenty of power, but they go in spurts where they explode. Nate Diaz just being someone, once he gets the pressure going, if he can keep it going, like he used to when he was younger, he would shuffle after you a little bit and make you feel like, oh, I got you. When he landed big shots, he'd step away and smile and laugh at you and then come back in aggressively and do it again. And I think the reach is going to be a factor if he can, like I said, get this thing going early. And I can't say it enough, and I've said it 50 times already just in this quick comment, is that he's got to get started early if he wants to have a chance to win this fight.
No, I agree with you that, in fact, he's got to go out and he's got to just grab a hold of the center of that ring and make Masvidal move laterally, backwards, all those things. You move around, cut him off, force him into situations where he has to make a decision on, I'm either moving, getting out, or I'm going after you. But it creates that fight, and it makes things happen. And you take a look at this. I'm going to say Masvidal's got the better power than Nate overall. Nate's more of a volume guy, and like you said, Masvidal is the 3-piece in a soda guy. He will throw a good combination, but then he'll stop and he'll back out and he'll wait and he'll take his time again and coming back with another one. Nate Diaz is that guy. He is a pressure guy, and he will continue to throw volume at you, and he's a volume fighter, but that volume will wear you down if you are not prepared for it. And if there's one thing that I've seen just out of this whole thing, and I haven't seen Masvidal training or any of that, but I do know, man, he has been on the road and he has been doing media, and it is tough to do all of that and have a good training session back to back and all those things. And so I'm just going to say, he's been carrying a lot of this promotion and all of the media. Nate has shown up when he's had to, but I know Nate's been training. I've heard that Nate's been actually looking good. His boxing is back to where it was at a certain point. And I think it's just it's a pick 'em fight.
You said it though. Like, I want to talk about Masvidal for a second, based on he has been carrying the weight of this thing. It is his promotion that's doing this, so he's going to be the one out there going, dude, we had an agreement signed. You're supposed to be doing the media. Nate avoided the media up until recently, and there was a lot of pressure on Masvidal to carry the weight of getting these tickets sold. I think now that it's come to fruition this whole week, there's been, Nate's been in the media. He's done some podcast interviews. He's done some good stuff. He was on Mighty Mouse. I saw that. Good for him. I thought that was great because Mighty Mouse has a totally different fan base than a Nate Diaz fan base.
Oh, yeah.
Even though, sure, they're both MMA guys, but I mean, it's just a different fan base. I mean, Mighty Mouse he's got
the gamer fan base too.
He's got the gamers, and then he's actually got probably the husband and wives and the family, like the ones that actually watch. He's got, kids of his own. And he's someone that carries himself in such a way that's a demographic that Nate Diaz would never hit. And I thought that was a smart play by him to go on that podcast, because that's a huge podcast, and Mighty Mouse is always fun and interesting, to listen to his perspective on things. And I think he's obviously one of the best to ever do it inside the cage. So I thought that was great by him. But George has been having to carry the weight of this. How much time has he been able to train? And has the training been good enough, because you've been on the road so much?
That's what I'm saying.
In Stockton talking trash, in New York doing this, in Florida doing this, in California doing this. I mean, he's been everywhere. And has he been able to get his sparring rounds in? Has he been able to get good talent to spar with as well? Those are all things that we're gonna find out when it comes fight night. It just sucks that we have to find out that night, not hear about, okay, he's looking good, he's feeling sharp. Now we know publicists and managers that are always gonna lie to us and say, oh, he's the best he's ever looked, he's the greatest, he's the best shape he's ever been. Sure, we've heard all that.
I've never seen him look better in the gym.
Yeah. I do want to say this one thing about Nate Diaz, and just given from my experience of fighting him, he does not hit hard. He is slower, but if he catches you at the end of the punch, it hurts. It hurts. And I've had several occasions during our fight. He caught me at the end of the punch, and I saw it coming, and it just hit me right at the right spot, right at the right time. And that snap at the very end, and he turns his hands over. He doesn't palm out there. He doesn't slap you with them. Now he does do that as well. But when he does put the snap on it, and he turns and rotates the thumb down, he caught me on the end of a couple of those, and I was like, oh, wow. What he snapped my head back and made me feel like a Pez dispenser. He's got some power at the end of the punches. It's when he smothers it that you don't feel it as much. And that goes for most fighters. But I really honestly believe with his reach advantage, if he's able to keep Masvidal at the end of his punches and keep him just slightly out of range, I think he's got a good chance of winning this fight. But he's got to get started early. And Masvidal, he's got to take the center of the ring. He's got to make sure that he's not letting Nate push him around. He's got to stand his ground, but also the biggest thing is cutting angles. He's got to make sure he's not standing directly in front of him and inside that reaching range on the end of his punches. He's got to be on his hip. Cutting corners, be on the hip. Cutting corners, be on the hip, and then let the hands go, and then kind of make space. Give yourself some room to catch some breath. I think if he fights that way, I think it'll be an easier fight for him. I'm not saying it's going to be an easy fight, but I think he'll have a better advantage in this fight. Yeah. So I got to be honest. I'm excited for this fight because there's been so much build up for it. It was supposed to be, last month, and they pushed it back a whole month, and now it's this month.
Now you look at better, but you got to look and say, really a good move, because it's just past 4th of July, no other fights.
Nope.
On that date. Come on, you're looking at a good thing. This is good for the promotion.
Not only that, you're going to have everyone with their families together through the weekend. And there's nothing to do. There's no UFC, there's no PFL, there's no Bellator. I don't think there's any other boxing matches that I've heard of so far.
Nope.
You know, so I mean, like parents can come home, pop open a couple beers, and let's just sit down and watch these guys get after it. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Yeah. It's going to be a good night of fights. Next fight.
Hold on.
Co-main event of the night. I'm sorry. Go ahead, George.
We got Bet USA. Jorge Masvidal coming in at a -278. Nate Diaz a +223.
Oh, a +223 from Bet US, huh?
Yep.
BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook and casino. Live betting and racebook. We're celebrating 30 years with a historic offer. A 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits. Plus 10% gambler's insurance. Get started today. BetUS, where the game begins.
See, anytime you go over that 200 mark, now you're looking, you say, I can't bet a guy that, you know, when I look at Diaz can win this fight. I know the Masvidal, I'll beat him in the MMA fight. I know that. But this is different, and if he fights the right fight like you're talking about, I can see Nate winning this fight. So at 233, I might go with Mr. Nathan Diaz.
I would have to go with Nate as well. And look, and I'm not saying that I believe he's going to win, but I do believe at those odds, I'm taking the Nate Diaz betting odds on that. At 223, throw $50 down, and and just let's just see what happens, man. Let the big dogs roll.
Yeah,
hopefully we can cash in a little bit. Yep. Next fight.
For the co-main event, we have got, I think this is a good, I love Danny Jacobs. Fantastic veteran fighter going up against a young, good, fast, very similar to his dad in some ways, but not in others, Shane Mosley Jr. This is a really good, this is that step up fight for Shane Mosley Jr. You know, he's fought some good competition. He has never fought anybody as good as Danny Jacobs.
No, not at all. Not at all. But I also look at, for Mosley, this is a make or break. This is his make or break moment. You are asking for big time fights.
Well, you got it.
You're carrying your dad's name on your back. Like, this is your moment right now to shine. Now, he has all the tools, but what he can't allow Danny Jacobs to do is bully him around. He can't allow him to smother his shots. He's got to keep Danny at the end of his punches on the outside, use his speed and his reach to his advantage. If he doesn't do that, and Danny Jacobs is able to kind of do that Bernard Hopkins-esque, kind of smother his space and dirty box him, that could be the downfall of him.
And that's the whole key, is people don't realize how good of a defensive fighter Danny Jacobs is. He is very difficult to get good shots on, and he makes you miss a lot, and he makes you pay. And he's that guy that can become incredibly frustrating in the fight. And does Shane Mosley Jr. have all the experience he needs to make it through those type of situations when, hey, this isn't working. I've got to go to my next step, and I got to start, aiming my shots towards his chest, all these things, start to take more of a step forward, slide my feet in, all the things that make you successful in a fight. Danny Jacobs can take a lot of all the good work you do, and he can just take it and make it look bad. He's a wily veteran. Yeah, he's the older guy, but he is definitely not out of his prime.
No, he's not out of his prime, and I think this long break is going to do him some good as well. He's going to be hungry to get back in there. He understands what's in front of him. I also, when I start looking at guys like Danny Jacobs, when I start looking at someone like him, I'm thinking to myself, he has probably forgot more about boxing than Mosley Jr. has learned. You know what I mean? Like think about the guys, that Jacobs has fought. Guys like, Canelo.
Okay.
Like, there's so much that he learned in that fight that Mosley Jr. hasn't learned yet. He hasn't learned because he's never been in there with someone like that. This is his first step up against somebody. I don't want to say on Canelo's level, but in that level, in that upper echelon of fighters, he's been in there with Canelo. Like, he knows, he's experienced those top level fights. So Mosley Jr. has not. And so having to make those adjustments on the fly inside. Now, John, that's my next thing I was going to go to is he's going to have to make adjustments between rounds.
Oh,
and can he do that? That's young, with fighters that are, we're going to find out. That's for sure. But those are the things that that I have questions about. Can he make the adjustments against a wily veteran, someone is going to make those little tweaks here and there to keep that pressure on you. In round 4, and in round 5, and in round 6, he's going to be making those small adjustments while you'll probably have to make bigger adjustments. And I can't say it enough. He's got to use his speed and his reach to his advantage. He cannot allow Daniel Jacobs to get close enough to him, to hold him, to Bernard Hopkins him, to smother him, to hit him to the body, to just clinch on him and wear him down and make him fight a fight that's not his style. And so,
I believe Mosley's got a 4-inch reach advantage, which that's sizable.
Yeah. I mean, 4 inches is a lot from what I've been told by her. I mean, you know what I mean? Yeah, 4 inches is a lot. So
not really,
but
now it's not.
But to me, this is definitely are you still there for Daniel Jacobs?
Yep.
And can you still compete? Do you want to still compete? That's the next question. Well, do you want to be there?
But the truth of the matter is, they're not that far off in age.
No, they're not.
Danny Jacobs is 37, Mosley's like 32, 33.
Yeah, but John, we're talking miles though, man. Like the miles of competition on that body.
I understand.
And the threshold is what?
Danny Jacobs is 37-4 as far as his record.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
It's a lot of miles, and the level of competition that you face during those miles
absolutely
is completely. Their bodies are in different places right now. I mean, look, I know I came out of fighting in 5-6 years ago, something like that, right? But my body's in a lot better shape than your old ass body. That's just the miles on it, buddy. That's just how this goes. You've had police work, you've had neck done, you've done all these surgeries, right? But guess what? I still got lower mileage on this thing, and I've been beat up pretty bad. But it's the age thing and the level of competition in which Daniel Jacobs has fought. It makes a big difference, And look, but I still can't get past the wily veteran, the grizzled veteran. He's going to know. He's going to create some problems in there that Mosley Jr. is going to have to figure out. He's going to have to figure out that riddle. I think he can. His dad's back in his corner. His dad worked his last fight in his corner. They were kind of split for a little bit.
Yep.
Now he came back. And he looked great in his last fight. I'm looking at this fight going, okay. The confidence is there. I think, just understanding what his dad's formula is and the coach's formula for him. I think he sees the vision. This is that age. He's 32, 33 years old, something like that, John. At that age, you've got to be able to say, hey, it's all or nothing right now. Because when you get to that 36, 37, 38, you're on the downturn. You're still kind of in the end of your prime. These are the moments you need to be making these big steps and big leaps. And this is good for him. I think it's going to be a good fight for him. We'll see, though. That's why we fight the fight.
I just want you to know you cut me deep, Shrek.
Yeah, I know.
Cut me deep.
I know. The surgeon already did that to you, though.
Neck, too many times. Too many times. All right. So then we have the fight before that is going to be Sean Garcia, Ryan Garcia's brother, yes, going up against Amado Vargas, the son, I want to say the middle son of Fernando Vargas. Amado and Sean have fought before in the amateurs. I think they were fought twice. I think one win apiece. This is actually a really interesting fight. They fight a different style.
Yeah,
Sean doesn't really fight like his brother Ryan. Sometimes
they have some similarities.
Sometimes, yes.
Yeah,
the left hook is not the same. I'm sorry.
No,
it's not the same.
Yeah, but I mean, he still has it though.
No, he's got it, but it's just not the same.
Yeah.
But this is actually a really good fight between two guys, undefeated, and I will say that based upon Sean Garcia lost. I want to say lost his last fight, but it was overturned to a no contest because he got robbed.
Yeah,
I watched the fight. He got robbed, and so it was not. It was that he won the fight. He should have won the fight on the judges' scorecard. Somehow it didn't happen. But it was overturned to a no contest. So he is 7-0-1, while Amado Vargas is 10-0.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at Sean Garcia, and I'm thinking that the speed is going to be a little bit of a factor. I think he's got the faster hands. Now, where he doesn't have, though, is the desire to push past rounds 4, 5, and 6 when he gets tired.
That's a huge point because most of his fights have been 4 rounds.
Yes. Yep.
And this fight is a lot more than that.
Yep.
So,
But John, like, can he suck it up and dig deep when he needs to? That's one. Two is he tends to get tired in his four round fights.
that's right.
That's it. But will he fight a different fight pace because it is a longer fight?
I don't think he can, because there's one thing about Vargas. Vargas is a pressure fighter. He comes forward. He's gonna make you fight. And so, could Sean Garcia get rid of him? Yeah, it's a possibility, no doubt about it. But this is an 8-round fight compared to the normal 4. That's twice as much. And when you're getting tired, and when I see you getting tired at the end of the 3rd and into the 4th round of your 4-round fight, it's telling me, boy, I tell you what, 8 is gonna, against a pressure fighter, that's not gonna be easy.
Man. John's math skills, George, were on point, man. 4 plus 4 more rounds is 8. Great job. That's
that?
twice as much.
That's what LA Unified School District will do for you.
Oh, wow. Big time there. Oh, man, big time. Yeah, look, I think Amato is definitely the pressure fighter. He's going to be long with his shots. What I have a problem with him a little bit is that he tends to lean forward when he's reaching for the body shots, and when he pulls out with his chin in the air and his hands down. And it's very hard to get to the body. He likes to use the jab to the body or the straight shot to the body. But when he does, he pulls back with his chin in the air and his hands down. It's perfect counter shots for Sean Garcia. Sean's very good at also sliding slightly outside of a range. If he can keep his back off the ropes, he slides really well back out of range and lands his counter hook. And it's very slick, very clean. So Amato's got to be very careful with that as well. There's a lot of things that I'm leaning towards Sean Garcia on this, but I'm leaning towards Sean in the first 4 rounds because I haven't seen a big enough, sample size.
Yeah, so you're looking at early round. Early rounds probably Garcia. Going into the later rounds, probably going to go to Vargas.
I mean, and the other thing too is like when you have someone like Sean Garcia who's explosive, he's got explosive hands, he's got fast hands. Those people tend to get tired. If you put him against a pressure fighter, if that pressure fighter can avoid the big shot, the big counter left hook, or the big uppercut or whatever it is, they can avoid that. Then they're going to have success breaking them down as the fight goes on. In 8 rounds, let's just see. Hey, you know what, George? I'm going to touch on both of these. For the co-main event, what were the betting odds on the co-main event with Mosley Jr. and Daniel Jacobs?
Let me bring him right back up. We got Shane Mosley, who I would bet the house on at a minus 140. We got Daniel Jacobs at a plus 110.
Ooh. I mean, it's close enough. I mean, got to be honest, though. For me, I feel like it's kind of a pick 'em fight, and then not knowing where Daniel Jacobs is in his career, like what he's looking to do out there. Has he reinvented himself from his time away?
Yep.
What is what? And then Mosley, can he rise to the top? Well, can he really rise to this occasion? It's a big fight for him.
Look at the whole reason for this fight is for people in the industry, the sanctioning bodies, and the promoters to look and say, "Yep, Shane Mosley is that guy," or "No, he's not." That's what this fight is for. We're gonna find out.
That's some inside knowledge right there, John. Giving us the inside knowledge from the commission. Yeah. Commission wants to know, can he hang with the big dogs?
That's it.
And if he can, we can go ahead and start booking some bigger fights, or not bigger fights, but some big name fights for him.
Yep.
But right now, no. Like right now, we're going to see what happens. And then what about the Sean Garcia and Amato Vargas fight?
I don't believe that they have that one yet.
They don't have it up yet?
No.
Okay. Those sons of guns.
The fight before that, though, is a fight that I think we vary on this one.
Okay.
Devin Cushing taking on Manny Correa. Manny Correa 13-1, while Devin Cushing is 13-0. Mm-hmm. Very similar as far as the amount of fights that they've had. They fight completely different, but both of them exciting fighters. Both of them have elements that make them very good. I love the way Devin Cushing goes after people. I like his swagger. I like the way he, gets in and out of the fight. He makes it exciting. He makes it entertaining. Manny Correa, more of a workman-like ethic. He likes to go to the body well. He leaves himself a little bit open to be hit at times, and that might be his undoing against Devin Cushing, but I will let you speak on the matter.
No, I think Devin Cushing is a fantastic boxer. I think he's very good when he takes the center of the ring and dictates the pace of the fight with that beautiful jab that he has. He snaps that thing, makes you look like a Pez dispenser, and it is textbook.
Yes.
It's beautiful. But
and
when he gets
he will throw it from a lot of different positions. He'll throw it with his hands high. He'll throw it with his hands down low. And I'll tell you what, it's a difference maker.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And so then he follows up with a straight punch, and right after that, it lands clean. He does really good work when he's at range. But that's not who he's fighting with. Correa. Correa's going to be able to step in there.
It is absolutely the truth. Can he keep Correa on the outside, or does Correa crush the distance, get to his body, and break him down?
Correa has no choice but to crush the distance. Otherwise, he's going to get knocked the fuck out.
Well, he doesn't. Sitting there and saying he has no choice, I admit that's his road to victory.
Yes.
Can he get on that road?
I think he can. And the other thing, too, is I don't know yet. So I got to find out what the size of the ring is.
Yeah.
That's going to make a difference as well. If it's if it's an 18-foot.
Anywhere over 20 foot and beyond, that's a problem.
Yeah, I'm saying if it's in that 18-foot range, I think Correa's going to have a little bit more success. He's got to avoid the big shots early in the fight, too. He's got to make sure he's making him miss and making him pay on the jab. And I say that a lot because when you have someone like Cushing who can throw a beautiful jab, you can't be right on the outside of it. You got to get your head moving, almost like that Mike Tyson, like bobbing left and right. Keep him guessing the whole time and rip the body and then come back up top to the head or try and slip and come up with an uppercut. It's going to be harder for Correa to hit with the uppercuts because he is going to be the shorter fighter. But I think I'm looking forward to Devin Cushing and seeing if he can do this against someone that's going to pressure him to the ropes, really put his back there, and then take the body shots. Can he take the body shots as the fight goes on, and how much will he slow down as the fight goes on?
I agree.
So Correa's he's just got to be careful he doesn't take big shots trying to get in. And that jab starts to zap your energy like in a video game where it's just like all of a sudden you're depleted.
Your power bar is gone.
Power bar is gone. Yeah. So this is going to be a fun fight. I think I look for it to be who, obviously, you and I both think whoever can implement their game plan is going to have success.
Yeah. And then the fight to start off the main card is going back to the world of MMA, really, where we have a guy who is incredibly successful in MMA, Sergio Pettis, former UFC lightweight champion, former WEC lightweight champion, taking on Chris Avila, a guy who we've seen in MMA, didn't have a ton of success, had a lot of problems, but is a boxing-centric type fighter even in MMA. And when it comes to boxing, Chris Avila can box.
Yeah, he can box. We were talking about him the other day, yesterday. If we ever get that Q&A to come out after the upload, I brought his name up. He's fun to watch fight. And now I'm not going to talk about MMA because I have no interest in fighting MMA. But Chris Avila is somebody that he obviously fights a lot like Nate Diaz and Nick. He stays long with his shots. He pitter-pats you a little bit, touches you, keeps the jab in the face, frustrates you, makes you use up your energy, your power bar by lunging in at shots, throwing heavy shots, trying to get the glove out of your face. He does a great job of frustrating you. I think I'm going to take the same approach that I am with the main event. Chris Avila's got to make sure that he is trying to slow Anthony Pettis down by getting him into the clinch, by dirty boxing him, by hanging on him against the ropes, making Pettis slow down with his shoulders and making him carry the weight, making his punching power go away, take his speed away from him by fighting him inside a little phone booth. If you give Pettis the room, and we've seen it throughout his MMA career, we saw it in his boxing match against Roy Jones Jr., where he beat Roy Jones Jr., where he beat him. We saw it. He hit with big shots, cut angles, and then hit again. And I was like, wow, he's doing this to Roy Jones. Now, I know Roy Jones is older. I'm not going to sit here and say, like, Roy Jones is in his prime. But I'm simply saying, Pettis is not a young guy either. I know there's a big gap. They're 20 years apart in age. But I'm looking at Pettis. He's got the speed advantage. He's got the fight IQ advantage as well, I think, over Chris Avila. I also think that if he just sticks to the game plan, lands his big shot, cuts the corner, comes out on the other side, lands another good shot, and then backs away and lets Chris try to pressure him. Then when Chris goes to just do the pitter-patter, he touches him again clean and hard and fast, cuts the corner, circles behind him, waits for him to turn, and lands the big shots. Pettis is going to be the faster fighter. He's going to have the better fight IQ. He's just got to make sure that he's got the conditioning to hang with Chris Avila. And I think that's what the deciding factor is going to be. Because if Chris Avila doesn't put pressure early in this fight, like I said with Nate, when he fights George, it's going to be a long night for him because it's going to be target practice. The speed advantage and the fight IQ advantage are going to go to Pettis.
I agree with you in all of it. And one of the things that, caused Chris Avila problems in MMA was people grabbing a hold of him, putting him up against the cage. Anthony Taylor is a guy who's fought both boxing and MMA. Yeah. He fought Chris Avila in MMA and didn't want to box with him there. He just grabbed a hold of him, clinched with him, and put him against the cage. Well, Anthony's going to be in that position where Chris, in my opinion, his volume attack, because he's very similar to Nate, his volume attack and his ability to continue to walk forward on Anthony is going to cause Anthony some problems as the rounds go on, especially from the 3rd to the 6th, because Anthony is going to come out. He's going to look good in the beginning, but as that pressure continues forward and he can't stop, because Chris Avila's got a chin, man. The guy is definitely not weak when it comes to taking a shot. As he continues to press forward, Anthony's be going off of his back foot continuously. It's going to wear him down, and he's got to figure out a way to stop Chris from being able to come forward on him.
Yeah, I mean, look, every fighter that's ever fought, whether it's Nick Diaz, Nate Diaz, or Chris Avila, they all have problems. If they don't deal with that problem of the pressure, the smotherness, the conditioning, the cardio, if they can't deal with that, they're going to have a rough night. Yep. Pettis has been dealing with these type of pressure fighters his whole life. He's just been a very fight IQ fight. He has very high fight IQ. He's very slick about how he gets out of the way.
But his kicks are a major part of his stand-up.
This is very true. This is very true. But what I do like about Pettis is that he will also mix it up by switching stances. So he won't be just a straightforward one style, a boxer. Sure. He'll switch stance. He'll strike with you both directions. And I think that's going to throw Chris Avila off a little bit. Not much, but I think a little bit. At least make him hesitate and think before he just tries to walk down Pettis.
Yeah.
But bottom line is, John, I really am actually excited about this card, and I'm looking forward to it, not just because I'm working it, but because I think it's going to be a fun night of fights. I think I go back to what you said. The best thing that could have happened to them was that they ended up delaying this to now.
Yeah.
Because, remember they were supposed to, I think it was supposed to be June 4th or June 3rd or something like that. The fight was supposed to happen. And it was the same night as the UFC pay-per-view. So I think it was June 1st. It was Islam and Dustin Poirier.
Yes.
Not a good night. No. Not a good night to have a pay-per-view.
No.
I mean, you would have lost 3/4 of your, maybe even more than that, of your fan base. So I'm glad they pushed it. I think we're gonna have a great night of fights. So if you guys are in the Anaheim area, in the LA area, it all seems the same to me. Okay, why don't you guys just come on out, Costa Mesa area, all those areas.
Come say hi.
On out. Come say hi, man. We'll be there. Be there full swing. If you guys see me, you guys repping the pod. If you guys have seen the pod, if you guys have a T-shirt of the pod, make sure you wear it. Love to get a picture with you guys. Hit me up in my DMs if you guys are there wearing one of our shirts. I'll come down and get a picture with you guys. I want to make sure we do that for everyone. And man, John, I think this is going to be a good fight. What's your last thoughts on this whole card?
I look at it as, people are going to sit there and they're going to try to downplay the whole thing. And that's because it's two MMA guys boxing. And you're going to, in some way, there will be some boxing fans that are going to go, I'm not going to watch that. And they're going to make a mistake because it's going to be entertaining. It's going to be a fun night of fights. There's some entertaining fights. The Anthony Pettis versus Chris Avila, I think is going to be a great fight. I think Chris Avila is going to cause Anthony problems. I'm not that Anthony can't solve those problems, but Chris Avila is going to be coming forward and just putting shots on Anthony. And if you go back to Anthony when he fought, Roy Jones Jr., Roy was older and Roy could not throw a lot of shots. There was no volume. And so there was a lot of empty time, empty space there for Anthony. That's not going to happen in this fight.
Yeah.
He's going to end up having someone that's throwing a ton of shots at him. How does he deal with it? I look at the Cushing fight. I love that fight with Correa. It is the question.
You've been high on this fight since you first saw the card.
Dude, I've watched Devin Cushing fight. He is fun. He's got an unbelievable jab. He follows it up. He's got great footwork. He's fun to watch. And Manny Correa is a guy that he's tough as shit. He comes forward.
Yeah.
Can he get in there? And, and then I go to the main event with Nate and George. It's like, Masvidal I've always enjoyed him in MMA. Nate Diaz, I've always enjoyed him in everything he does. They're both going to go out there and throw down. It's going to be fun. Just fun.
Yeah, I'm excited for all of them. I mean, you left out the Mosley Jr. fight and Danny Jacobs, but I mean, I'm looking most, I think, forward to that one. And not that I have anything against any other fights. I'm looking forward to that one because I just have the old guard. Is he ready to leave and hang it up? And the young one coming up, is he ready to try to stamp his name? And like you said,
can he
the
take
commissions
the
are looking. But people are wondering, can he do it? Can he seize this moment? It's up to him, and I'm looking forward to seeing if he can.
Yep.
Should be fun. Could be a good night of fights.
Pomona, California represented. That's Shane Mosley Jr.'s hometown.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for us. Hopefully you guys hit those odds at BetUS. Please don't miss out. Also, drink your element. It is good. It is salty, and stay salty because it's going to be hot this weekend. Also, happy 4th of July to everyone. I want you guys to remember what 4th of July is about. Also, please keep your hands off the firecrackers, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Let's try to be safe out there. Okay. Don't do anything stupid. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, which is pretty much everything you're allowed to do. But please be safe. Don't drink and drive. That is another thing. Please do not drink and drive. And John, take us away, bud.
Please have a good time with your families. Be around your loved ones. Enjoy yourself. And here at the Weighing In Podcast, Josh will be working. I will not, thank God. And we will see you.